From angels that just have terrifying and eerie descriptions to some gruesome and horrible stories involving the powerful archangels. Here are the top 10 terrifying angels from the Bible you should never trust. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Cherubim. When we think of cherub, we normally think of like a Cupid type character, like a sweet little baby angel flying around, you know, nice stuff. Turns out, however, that is not at all what these babies are described as being. In Ezekiel 1:5-11 it says, "As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire as it were gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had a human likeness, but each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides they had human hands, and the 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings touched one another. Each of them went straight forward without turning as they went. As for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces." I'm not sure where we got this flying baby idea from, but honestly it seems to be a lot better than whatever those creatures would look like. In our number 9 spot today we have Gabriel. So in many of the texts, angels are like the messengers of God, but they also have their own powers and abilities that they can use as they see fit. In one particular story, Archangel Gabriel is sent to announce the birth of John the Baptist to Zechariah. But when Gabriel does this, he gets a less than enthusiastic response from Zechariah. In fact, this response was one of protest, and Gabriel simply did not like that. He said, "I am Gabriel, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak until the day these things occur." I guess the lesson here is to listen to an angel if it appears to you and tells you that you're gonna have a kid? I'm not sure. At the end of the day, it's a bit of a dark way to deliver the good news. In our number 8 spot today we have the Ophanim. So these creatures, just in general, are very strange. I mean, they're actually the wheels that are seen in Ezekiel's vision of the chariot, so they're like creatures, but also wheels. One of the Dead Sea Scrolls classifies these guys as angels, but there's a section in the Book of Enoch where they're classified as celestial beings who never sleep and instead guard the throne. So while these creatures aren't necessarily terrifying in their actions, they're definitely creepy as heck in their appearance. They are called the many-eyed ones for a reason. It is said that these wheels have 4 faces and way too many eyes. Imagine having to ride in the chariot. Like, that's so terrifying and absolutely uncomfortable. No thank you. In our number 7 spot today we have Raphael. Raphael is one of the true archangels and is the 4th of the oldest of the 5. He is a powerful healer, a guardian angel, and a great fighter, so you might be wondering why he landed a spot on today's list. Well, there's just one story in particular that I really wanted to talk about, and that story comes from the Book of Enoch. Raphael is in a battle with the demon Azazel. Raphael is able to defeat the demon, but decides to subject him to a fate worse than death. The story writes, quote, "Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Duadel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire." If that wasn't clear enough, Raphael tied this demon up, buried him alive in a hole full of rocks in the middle of the desert, where he just now gets to wait until he can be thrown into a fire and burned alive. In our number 6 spot today we have the angel of death. Within the Hebrew Bible there are many stories where the Lord sent his angel of death to wipe out any enemies of the Israelites. I mean, one of these stories is the one that is behind what we now know as Passover, and while that is the most famous example, there is apparently a larger one that took place. In 701 BC it is said that this angel was able to save Jerusalem from an invasion by Sennacherib's army, but it was not without the loss of life, of course. If unfamiliar, Sennacherib, whose name means sin has replaced the brothers, was the king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire from 705 BC until 681 BC. In the end, it is said that in order to save Jerusalem from the invasion, the angel of death was responsible for wiping out 185,000 men completely in just one night. In our number 5 spot today we have Abezethibou. This fallen angel is described in the Testament of Solomon, which I know is not really regarded in the canon of the scripture, but I had to include him. He is said to be one of the angels that followed Belial Beelzebub upon his fall from heaven. He is the sin of pride and is known for his ability to lead people astray. He is most easily summoned in the month of July during the 5th hour of the night, so careful. After his fall from grace, he was left with only one red wing and was condemned to hell. He is said to have control over the imprisoned souls of Tartarus and plays a primary role in the demon world. He himself claims that he was once an angel in what is referred to as the first heaven, and after his fall he began to roam Egypt. During his time in Egypt, he met with Moses and the Israelites during the Exodus and opposed them. This is when he decided to harden the Pharaoh and his advisors' heart and convince them to pursue those who were fleeing. He went with the Egyptian army in pursuit of the Israelites, but the collapsing Red Sea crushed and drowned him, which left him imprisoned in a pillar of water. Despite being trapped, Beelzebub says that he will return for conquest. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Seraphim. These creatures are ones that appear in the book of Isaiah, and their name translates to burning ones. That's bad enough, but when you find out that they are flying serpents, things get even weirder and more unbelievable. These creatures, despite their terrifying appearance, are the highest ranking celestial being in the hierarchy of angels, so the good news is there are creatures on this list who are doing worse things, but the way these guys look, it's really just not what we think of when we think of angels. These flying, burning snakes don't just have one set of wings and instead have 6 wings sprouting from their backs. Only one set of wings is used to fly, while the others are for covering their faces and feet. They are said to just fly around telling God how great he is, while using their other wings to hide their faces and their feet because they feel as though they are unworthy of looking at God and they don't want him to see any of their imperfections. In our number 3 spot today, we have Uriel. There are stories and texts that say that fallen angels were mating with humans and creating this sort of race of giants. Personally, I think that sounds kind of cool, but according to the text, people did not like that at all, and that includes the archangel Uriel. He was not the only one who was against this, but he was only one of the 4 who spoke up about it and asked for some sort of divine intervention. Also, it's not like he felt anyone was innocent in this mix. Humans were looked on as being just as guilty as the angels, and ignorance was not an excuse. This is all what led to the great flood of the earth in order to rid the world of giants and quote-unquote cleanse the earth. The text says, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens." In our number 2 spot today, we have Belial. Belial is one of the crowned princes of hell, but he is also known as hell's brightest fire, evil's match, the king of evil, and he is the personification of wickedness in the Jewish faith. He is mighty and powerful, and this is likely due to the fact that he was created right after Lucifer, which is of course part of the reason why Belial belongs to his order. Belial was once an angel, but after his fall from grace he became a demon of lies and guilt, and he possesses the ability to induce any type of sin, but his favorite of the sins is lust. Belial is so evil that it's said he started a civil war in hell. While still an angel just before his fall in the War of Heaven, Belial slayed numerous angels, and as a demon, just in general, he would slay huge demonic armies that attempted to make any moves against him or any of the other 7 great kings. In our number 1 spot today, we have Lucifer. Lucifer was an angel before he fell from grace. In the book of Isaiah it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Lucifer is now the ruler of hell, and he commands an entire army of sinners and demons, and he even tried to organize an uprising against God. So, I think it's pretty clear exactly why he is a terrifying entity. He also uses his power to send terrible people to Earth in order to terrorize everyone, as well as to try and tempt non-sinners into the dark side. It is said that Lucifer also might just be the one who is responsible for the original sins that were seen in the Garden of Eden. Some believe that he is the snake who placed the temptation there. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!